So did the next big unannounced 3D Mario game and Zelda remake or remaster project just leak ahead of their official announcement for Switch 2? Maybe something to be revealed to us at the April 2nd Nintendo Switch 2 Focus Direct? Well, that's the question we're diving into in today's video, and I will emphasize the rumor portion that you saw in the thumbnail on this video, because while it is coming to us from a major retailer that has, long history, sells plenty of products, primarily around PC parts, and they are straight up name dropping certain stuff like this in their eShop listing, and then it was interestingly removed later on. These type of situations popping up online from retailers can just be human error at the end of the day, and that might be what we're looking at here. However, I would like to use this opportunity, since it's being discussed in a lot of mainstream media outlets, to remind you guys that we actually have reason to believe that many, if not all, of the name drop games in some way, shape, or form are slated to come to Nintendo Switch 2 at or around launch. So we're going to get on the same page with all of this info. Before we do, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your bell notification to join Sunbro Nation. If you're new here, we have to first kick it off by hopping over to Insider Gaming, where they do have an article written up with exactly what was spotted here. Store listing says new 3D Mario and Legend of Zelda remake coming in 2025. A new 3D Mario and a Legend of Zelda remake are coming to Nintendo Switch 2 in 2025. At least that's according to one store listing online. On the popular e-tailer Newegg, the product description for a $50 Nintendo eShop gift card mentions a number of games coming in 2025. According to that description, which you can see below, 2025 will feature Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, new 3D Mario, new Mario Kart, a Legend of Zelda remake/remaster, Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, Pokemon Legends ZA. A new Mario Kart was already confirmed with the reveal trailer for Nintendo Switch 2. A new 3D Mario and a Legend of Zelda remake have been rumored and expected, but there's nothing in the form of confirmation from Nintendo. While this can't be viewed as confirmation either, it's still something from a major storefront. And what maybe adds a little bit of fun to this story, if you do want to buy into Newegg somehow having, some inside info on what Nintendo's going to be releasing for their 2025 games lineup. And it's a stretch to say they work with Nvidia selling their products, but I don't think they have a direct channel to communication with Nintendo. But they are a retailer. They do sell eShop cards and major online computer components. But you can of course first see the screenshot of mentioning those games that are highlighted in this, and you can even see at the time that Insider Gaming wrote their article where they say Insider Gaming has reached out to both Newegg and Nintendo regarding the store posting and its accuracy. Should a response be received, the story will be updated accordingly, as well as posted on Insider Gaming's social media channels. Now that update has not come, and they haven't said that Nintendo has commented on anything or Newegg, but you can then see an updated posting where basically the games that are mentioned in the 2025 games just revert to the ones that we actually know about for sure, which is Prime 4, Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, Pokemon Legends ZA. It removed all the talk, even of the Mario Kart game, which we do know. I guess we don't know it's a 2025 game. We do know it's a game that Nintendo is promoting for Nintendo Switch 2, because as mentioned, it was in the reveal trailer. And for me personally, as much as I would love to come to the conclusion for my own 2 cents on the matter that maybe Newegg does have some kind of inside information and they actually accidentally included this in their description, then walked back that inside information, I don't actually think that's what's going on here. You have to realize that employees at the end of the day are creating all of these said web pages, and you know what? A lot of people use ChatGPT and AI to write things nowadays, and it almost sounds like something where you can say, what are the exciting 2025 Nintendo Switch 2 games coming out? And these are all games that have been rumored for a long time. In fact, I would have liked to see something weird on that list that wasn't rumored to give it some more validity to Newegg having insight to this specifically. Like, let's talk about a weird one-off game that we haven't seen promoted so far, like a Kid Icarus or an F-Zero or something to that effect, where it's like, whoa, okay, we haven't heard about that game at all. A Star Fox, there's not even a ton of rumors circulating around it, and it's not all safe picks. These are very safe picks. The new Mario Kart, yeah, we know to expect that. A new 3D Mario, that's not confirmed, but you just look at Odyssey and how long it's been since that game launched back in October of 2017, and clearly we are due for another mainline 3D Mario adventure. Bowser's Fury was a nice little tack on to 3D Mario World, but it's far from a standalone 3D Mario adventure. And we've had gaming journalist names already kind of mention that they've understood that the plan was to launch Nintendo's next gen hardware, and in the launch year we should be getting that big 3D Mario adventure. trailer. We don't know if it's going to be a launch game. I'm now more leaning towards Mario Kart being the launch game due to the promotion in the trailer, and then the holiday game being the 3D Mario adventure. But within the first year, if this console comes out late May, early June, I mean, we're going to be talking about October, November for that big holiday Mario title, and that might be Mario Kart, that might be the new big 3D Mario, but I think that one's pretty much a lock and a shoe-in, just due to the amount of time that the team has had to put together from the ground up Mario experience. And you know, we may go open world this time, we may not. I do kind of think that they are going to naturally progress in that direction for Mario. I think they're going to go more in that Bowser's Fury, way open connected zone areas. Not that you can truly go anywhere right out of the gate, but you can probably generally progress in a more open environment and not having any kind of specific level selection and loading in between zones, other than, you know, whenever you want to maybe fast travel over to the other portion of the map. That might be the direction they go. They also might just go kick it back to more traditional 3D platformer style. You know, that can be done still super well in the modern era. If you played Astrobot, like I'm not finished with yet, but still, you know, actively playing through as I get time. Yeah, that's really well put together levels, linear progression, 3D platforming, and you know, it can still be done at a high level. So that's exciting for the Mario thing. But what I do want to then spend just a little bit of time on as part of this rumor going around online is the Legend of Zelda portion, because while there is nothing concrete or confirmed about any 2025 Zelda release at this point in time, we do have history on our side, with Nintendo so far in the Nintendo Switch generation sticking to roughly one new Zelda game per calendar release in the franchise. It's not always a mainline game. Sometimes it's a Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition or Age of Calamity, or even a skipped year like they did in 2022 when that was the original launch year for Tears of the Kingdom and that got delayed. We didn't see a Zelda game in 2022, but for the most part, outside of that one-off, we have seen Nintendo stick to putting something Legend of Zelda on the Nintendo Switch every year since the launch of the console, and I don't think that 2025 is necessarily going to be an exception once again, because they're launching new hardware. They still want to support Switch 1, so we actually have a few different possibilities of how Nintendo could go about that kind of remake slash remaster project for The Legend of Zelda. And the first, and maybe even the most exciting prospect for me personally, is finally seeing Wind Waker and or Twilight Princess brought over, even if they're just Nintendo Switch 1 ports, as that's kind of what I'm picturing Nintendo will do, at least with Wind Waker. Since it's not tied to any anniversary, I actually don't think we're getting those games as a combo pack anymore. I think they will be released and spread out from each other a little bit. Maybe Twilight Princess gets a little bit more in-depth graphical rework and it's just saved for another couple years down the line, but I could see Wind Waker HD as the perfect project for Nintendo to throw on the current Nintendo Switch while they're still building out the software library for Switch 2. And of course, we've had some rumblings with this game recently because there was a Russian retailer just listing it for Nintendo Switch on their website. We also had that official Korean translation that happened from the official Nintendo Legend of Zelda timeline, which has not happened for that game before, and the Korean translation would in theory happen if they were going to bring this game to Nintendo Switch. That timeline got updated with an official translation for Wind Waker, so it leads some credence to the idea that Nintendo still has that game sitting on a shelf finished and ready to go somewhere. Maybe we learn about it in the February Direct, maybe we don't, but if that doesn't happen, the bigger and maybe even more exciting project, if I'm being honest, but one that I'm not expecting to hit in 2025, would be something like a true up Ocarina of Time remake, and not just a remaster like what we saw them do on the 3DS console back in the day. You know, of course, it was porting one of their timeless classics and favorite Zelda adventures to a handheld console. You could only play it in handheld. It had nice reworked textures and things and some quality of life improvements, but it was largely the same Ocarina of Time game. I am talking about something at a much larger scale, Nintendo really going back and reworking from the ground up the game, and maybe even adding in new content to some extent, whether that be an actual temple you go through to get the light medallion instead of that getting just handed to you in the Temple of Time, whether that be stuff that's just more in-depth story elements for certain NPCs, and you see new details that were never quite described to us before in Ocarina of Time. Maybe they were described in just plain text, but we didn't get an in-depth cutscene explaining everything and showing it to us. Like, there is some reason to believe that Nintendo will want to revisit this legendary game that literally helped craft the direction of 3D games at some point in the future. And we have Aonuma not really shutting down those rumors in direct interviews and kind of just laughing when asked about an Ocarina of Time project, and that's actually how he's previously hinted at other remasters for Zelda in the past. So I think that comes over at some point, but it's probably a 2026 or even 2027 title. Maybe it lines up with the release of the Legend of Zelda live action movie that we will see communicated to us at a later date, but that would be super cool, but not something I'm expecting for 2025. And then the last, and really probably what we will actually see maybe Nintendo do this time around, which might sound weird, but we do have that internal code name that is U-King-O, which is a reworked version of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And the reason that we know this is you might remember an account by the name of Midori. They're notorious for leaking internal code names that all end up being real projects. That's how we learned about Echoes of Wisdom before it came out, the new Mario Party before it was revealed with Jamboree. Like, we got a lot of confirmed info from Midori, and they did reveal to us that U-King-O code name was internally being worked on at Nintendo. It also lines up with Gamescom 2023 rumors where Nintendo Switch 2 dev kits or targeted PC hardware that was basically set to be roughly as powerful as a Nintendo Switch 2 dev kit was actually showcasing to developers behind closed doors a 4K version of Breath of the Wild running at 60 frames per second and that had virtually no load times. So a reworked version of, the kickoff title for Nintendo Switch that launched it into so much success. I do think Nintendo might actually do something like a 4K version of Breath of the Wild, and I'm hopeful that because we have backwards compatibility, they kind of do the Sony route where maybe they do give it a new game case and people can buy it for the first time for $70 on the new console. But if you already own the current Breath of the Wild, you would have the option to pay something like a $10 upgrade fee, or maybe they include a free upgrade with the Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack membership. Like, however they go about it is fine. But if you look at the history with code names and then that -O, that's Dash Ounce, the code name for Nintendo Switch 2. That's how we got games like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe revealed, that its internal code name had a -S for the Switch before it was released. So, there's a lot of evidence and things pointing to Nintendo doing something with Breath of the Wild behind the scenes right now. And I do think that game actually makes sense for Nintendo to bring over, even though I'm not necessarily ready to replay it unless if there's a ton of new content or something like that. I think that it's going to be one of those things that gets people talking, and maybe new Switch 2 owners that skipped out on the Switch 1 generation or just skipped out on that game, maybe a reason to yet even further have Nintendo focus on and catapult the sales even further into the success category than they have in the Breath of the Wild era. So believe it or not, that's actually kind of what I'm leaning towards. If not, I like Wind Waker as the backup game if we are to give any validity to this Newegg posting going around and being discussed online. But regardless, something Zelda in 2025 and something 3D Mario in 2025 are highly likely, in my opinion, in the launch year of Nintendo's new console generation. So that's where I really want to hear from you guys at this point in the video. What, if any, games we mentioned today would you be most excited to see brought to Nintendo Switch 2? And do you actually put in any stock to this Newegg posting? Do you think it's something that, yeah, they have inside information as a major retailer and this was a mistake that they then reworked? Do you think this was just human error and an employee going out and typing something up with AI and that's what they posted, then got notified and decided to change it after the fact? And do you think that regardless of if it's true or not, kind of like I do, that we're probably going to see all of these products brought to light in 2025, being that of a new Mario Kart, 3D Mario, and Legend of Zelda game in a remake or remaster format? So make sure you share all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below before you leave, regardless if we agree or disagree. Also make sure you like, subscribe, turn your notification bell. And with that, I've been Sunbro, you've been Nation. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.